SD2 mic network is still there.
LL, what's good? It's your boys. That dude, the original Lucky Lefty himself, Malik Zaire. I'm Shaun Davis. Brought to you by Onora Whisky, OnoraWhisky.com. That premium American whiskey, OnoraWhisky.com. And if you drink, make sure that you indeed drink
Responsibly. You
There you
heard me.
go. So we're going to talk about practice. The commitments from Jaden Ausberry Lab University down in Baton Rouge, in Minich out of Ohio, who, I liken unto Drew Tranquil, and digging a little bit more. He's been putting in work in track season. And I think that's really what put him on the radar of Notre Dame, getting that late offer, him coming to the campus 2 weeks ago. And it was pretty much a done deal. You listened to him on yesterday. Once he got on campus, he was like, yeah, this is the place. This is it. So,
well, for a guy that was under recruited, of course, Notre Dame gonna be like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, because didn't he have a couple? He had Vanderbilt and a couple smaller schools.
Yeah, track season, kid is running like 10-2 in the 100, 21-8, 21-9 in the 200. I'm like, okay.
5'11", 185 is not scary though.
Dog, speed is speed. I don't care if it's different if you're 250 running that, but we looked at his film and said he could run. That was the one thing we say, he can run.
Yeah, but he's not playing offense. That's all.
No, he can play everywhere. That's the thing. Look, if you just have a team full of speed, you'll find a place.
Okay, well, shoot. If that's right. Marcus Freeman is building a team full of just X-Men. Just X-Men.
We'll find a space. Back end safety, slot, things of that nature, special teams. I talked about special teams coverage. That's one of the things I want to talk about because they went punt yesterday. We didn't see the kickers kick a lot yesterday, but they went punt. And this freshman punter, I'm like, okay.
He got a little leg on him.
He made me feel a little bit more comfortable about half of the kicking situation.
That's
right.
50%. That's on its way.
That's right. We'll deal with the other guys hopefully later on in spring. And Dylan Edwards has a commitment coming up here in about 20 minutes. There's nothing to say about this kid, man. You saw the tape. You saw the breakdown we did of this kid. Speed like that. When you're clocking, 4.33? Electric? Not hand. Electric? Yeah. That's a fast cat. So I can't
guys wait. Like that just be interesting.
I can't wait to get your input on some things that happened in practice yesterday concerning the quarterbacks and the influence of Al Golden, which Marcus Freeman has been very transparent about with his head coaching experience and his NFL experience, just using his wisdom and how he's putting things together. He talked about that. But I want to talk to you about what I saw at practice yesterday. The first thing you want to talk about is the level of competition. Level of competition is bananas, bro. It's bananas. And let's start with the trenches. Offensive line, defensive line. Marcus Freeman said that the offensive line is the unit he spends the most time with which I thought was very interesting as a defensive guy. But the alignment with Patterson, Zeke Correll, Josh Lugg, Blake Fisher, Joe Alt, and shout out to Joe Alt, man. Joe Alt, by the end of practice, his jersey numbers were worn. You couldn't even see his 7 and his 6. His T-shirt under his jersey was ripped. Like, it's a battle every day, him and Foskey. Like, all day, every day, him, Foskey, and then Mr. Safa. He's just battling guys, and they're going at it, and they're making each other better. So that is the overall, that's just a microcosm of what I want to say on a bigger scale is the competition is totally different. Because you talked about, I remember going into the 2015 season, how dominant you guys were in practice. and how you were making big plays like it was nothing. And yesterday, it was literally like the offensive line would make a play, and then the defensive line would respond. Then the offensive line would respond and make another play. Then the defensive line would come back and respond and make 2 plays. Then the offensive line would come back and make like 3 plays in a row. And it was like they just kept raising the bar on each other and challenging each other. And that's what the entire practice, it was like that with the wide receivers and the DBs. It was like that with the linebackers. Everything was built around competition. Everything was fast paced. And I absolutely loved what I saw.
And that's what you want to see for the first practice. You want to see guys flying around and competing. It's a lot of juice that goes on. First couple of days of camp, after a year coming off the Fiesta Bowl, a lot of guys, are in full swing of things. It's different than the spring.
Yeah.
The spring, you working back into things. You're doing a lot more rehab. You training, you figuring out different stuff. You at the base on a lot of things. But now you're in a situation. This is full go. You getting to put all the BS and the news and the media expectations to the side. You get to duck away for 2 weeks to really get in the lab. And we knew this. We knew it was going to be very, very competitive summer because of the coaching staff is competitive, right? Everybody in the office, everybody in the building is competitive. They're building a culture that is going to be one to reckon with. And so for them to be able to really put that work in the first couple of days, it's going to be able to sustain itself throughout all of camp and give us what we want to see in terms of 9-3 in Columbus.
So fast paced, offensive line, defensive line, the trenches, competing, raising levels. Let's go to the skill positions. Let's go to the offensive side. And we'll get to Marcus Freeman and his comments from his press conference that will relate a little bit to this. It was really good. This was the first thing I saw, bro. They're in shells is just wide receivers and quarterbacks. And all of a sudden, I see Tyler Buchner throw this ball, and I just see a number 3 flash. And I'm like, yo, is that Avery? I'm like, yo, he's full speed. And I'm like, he's looking good. Added some weight, looks stronger. I'm like, yo, if Avery is back, that's going to be huge. Joe Wilkins, he was right there next to me on the bike because I walked onto the outside fields along with JD Price, Jadarian Price, who, by the way, bro, Jadarian Price, when I walked on the field, he was there working out with the bands, with the trainers. He was doing some band work. And he got up and then eventually made his way to the field on the scooter. And he was sitting behind the offense on the scooter. And it was just the saddest, dude. You could just tell. You know what that's like, bro. Like the first practice, and here you are in this boot, man, trying to recover from this Achilles, and it's like, and he's a freshman. You already know what his heart felt like.
Yeah, it's not an
I felt
easy
bad for him.
thing.
I felt
Not an
bad
easy
for him.
thing to deal with, especially your first one.
Yeah.
But it is the best one to be sitting through is your first one because you got a long road ahead of you. I do think is also opportunity to kind of take in more of what the football journey is when you're not totally physically able to do it all.
Mm-hmm.
And you fall in love with the game a little bit more. There's things that he may find through this injury time that can help his game as he's getting back. Definitely going to challenge his mental and just keep it in the right frame of mind, staying positive as he's seeing guys, move up the depth chart, move down the depth chart, plays he's watching where he's like, man, I could have did this or that. So, if anything, just being a good teammate, man, and staying around your guys when you're injured helps, because when you by yourself, it sucks, man, because you can't do much,
And your
especially with a leg
mind can
injury.
wander off and you start thinking crazy. You've been through it, bro. So, who better than to give him that advice than someone that's actually been through it at Notre Dame. So skill positions. Seeing Avery Davis running, looking good, just really lifted my spirits. Like I said, Joe Wilkins looks good. They're bringing him along slow, and he was doing bike work. And then he came on and did some drill, a few drill things. But other than that, he was limited. So I'm watching these guys go through the cone drills as receivers. Let me tell you something, bro. You know how you come back, you know, that first day of school is weird because you don't know what has happened over the summer to people. I don't know what happened. Jaden Thomas swagger is totally different, bro. He's moving different. This dude is moving different. Like, he looks different. He moves different. He's bobbing his head different. Whatever switch was hit is on. Like, it's on. And I'm talking about just in watching drills. This is before they even got to like live action, just running routes and drills, like bobbing his head to the music, just confident swags is totally different. And I'm like, okay, this is not the same kid from last year. Is it as simple as a kid like that getting a clean slate under Chancey Stuckey and really feeling like he has opportunity? Or, you know, is that just the natural maturation and process of someone that's been in the program now for 2.5 seasons?
Man, it's the same as like your first time playing Monopoly, and then it's like the 100th time you playing Monopoly. Once you get that first kind of taste of it, you learn the game the way you learn it in a different way. And so when you come back that next year, that next time, he already know what it looks like. So there's not a lot of unknown to what he's going to be going through in camp, which you face your freshman year. You like, damn, I don't know. I remember first time I went to practice, spring practice, early enrollee. We get done stretching, we run to the middle of the field. We about to do the big breakdown. And I'll never forget, we did the big breakdown and everybody just ran everywhere. And I was the only one left standing, like, where am I supposed to go? Nobody who told you, all right, we about to go here, we about to do this. It was just everybody knew what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Except me. You know, this is my first practice. So you kind of get in line, you gotta, you know, see where the red jerseys was. Okay, I'm gonna go there. And then that's how it works. But then the next year, I'm the one, all right, we about to slide. We about to already know what drill we about to do. So once you got that already ahead, now it's like, okay, I can put my talent to it and really show out. So now that sophomore year is that big. I'm about to impress a lot of people because there's some guys that I was losing to last year, one-on-ones that, all right, I know what you're doing. So I'm gonna be ready. Now you going out, you done trained all summer on that move that he got you with. Now you popping out like, ooh, who is that? Who is that? That guy came back ready to go. And now you start to get that confidence. So the only thing that changed was last year, it was the unknown. This year he got confidence and he's a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, a little bit faster. So you're seeing that maturity come in. And then on top of that, he was already a freak. He was already a freak of nature. So this is the time where Tyler Buchner can be like, all right, guys, it's working. I was working. So let's put it all together.
Let's go to Avery Davis. We talked about Jaden Thomas. Braden Lindsey is indeed, you know, the buzz was, especially coming from Chancey Stuckey, how much of a leader he's become. And Braden Lindsey, we'll get to this because you'll be shocked. You will be shocked by this. The top two receivers consistently in live action were Jaden Thomas and Lorenzo Styles Jr. Those are the first two
I know
receivers
that.
out.
I know that. I
Right?
know Styles gonna be.
And I think it was kind of shocking to a lot of people in the stands, like, yo. Then when they went to a 3-wide set, the first three out were Jaden Thomas, Lorenzo Styles, and Avery Davis.
Now let me be honest.
And cats really were like,
I was telling everybody in spring,
you did.
Jaden Thomas.
You did.
Hello. That's gonna be the guy. I said that. I remember. I came back from the spring practice. Said Jaden Thomas gonna be the dude. He the most. He the most ready. Looking like next to Styles. So I already know. And then Avery Davis, I got a chance to talk to him at the spring practice, and he was more so in the world of look. I just need to get healthy, put some good shit on tape. I don't have to go on YouTube no more. I got Chancey. I rock with him. He know what he talking about. So, and we saw Avery flash in the Clemson game. He had some big plays where he fly across the field. Like, oh, I can see where, I can see where what they're thinking on that. He had a drop, but even with the drop, he was wide open. You know what I mean? So, I think that'll be a great comfort for Tyler over the middle. Is a streaking guy that like Avery Davis, like you said, he put on weight. He looks kind of solid. He looks less quarterback switching over to receiver and more like receiver.
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge improvement. Like we said, we in the beginning, we said, all right, now Avery Davis, you might have to get skipped over. You know what I mean? I remember we almost said, coming back. I don't know. I don't know if that was the best move, but he found his role, and I think the injury helped him with that. It allowed him to put on some more weight, allowed him to really find his stride,
Yeah.
and he's the most veteran of the guys. And in
Yeah.
a room that's kind of young, you got Jaden Thomas in there, you got Tobias Merriweather, young screen poppers that are going to come aboard in the near future. They could use some guidance by Avery, so he's finding his way in there, and I think Tommy likes him.
Yeah.
Tommy's put him in some positions where it's like, oh, that's our over the top guy. That's a guy that's in a third down guy. So
Yeah.
I think everything is going to come together with Avery and being maybe a underrated leader in that group.
Not underrated. No, 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 no. You listen to Chancey Stuckey, him and Braden are very much the two leaders in that wide receiver room. All right. So Lorenzo Styles is, I said this yesterday. I came home. As soon as I drove home, I hopped on for a little bit on the IB show. And I said this, and people might have taken it the wrong way. I said, when you go out to practice and you're looking for the guys to pop that always pop, but you end up going to full practice and you realize that you never really paid attention to them all practice, that's a good thing. Yeah. Like I'm looking for Adam Miola, I'm looking for Fausti, I'm looking for Mayer, I'm looking for the usual suspects, and all of a sudden my eye is caught by everybody else during the practice. That's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
That's a really good thing. Tobias Merriweather. Everybody wants to know about the freshman, right? Malik, look, man, I'm going to stop short of superlatives, but I'll say this, and this is just for me watching him run doing drills. Dude is really smooth, man, at that size. Long. He's going to put on some weight. And when he puts on some weight, he's going to be a problem, but he has fantastic feet. And it's something different. You'll know this as a quarterback, and maybe you can explain it. It's something different when he snags the ball. Like you watch receivers catch the ball, and certain receivers catch it, coddling it in like a baby. Some catch it a little bit of a bobble, but his is like a grapple hook, dude. You know what I'm saying? It's like
he sounds like he's got a lot of that Corey Robinson in him, where Corey was just so smooth, and you'd be like, Corey don't even be practicing the outside of it.
Is that how it was?
Corey attending administration meetings after practice. He ain't about to get in no extra work or nothing. So you would never know like how he just goes out there and just do and then makes all the greatest catches in the world and make it look so easy. Maybe that genetic thing being passed down is a real thing. Because I mean, no effort. It came from Corey, and he was the tallest receiver I think we had at the time. But I mean, you couldn't really tell if he was really fast or nothing.
Yeah.
But it was like, man, if there was a one-on-one situation and that football was in the air, and it don't matter how much you pulling and tugging on Corey and penalizing him and all holding him, and that ball get close, he gonna put one hand up and do it to you nasty, just over your head. Like, my bad, you didn't mean to. Let me grab this real quick, and then he'll come down, and then he always did the thing. He'll crazy finish, and he'll just stick the ball up in the air like, I got it.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm talking about used to make all the DBs mad because it's like, what are you gonna do with that?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with that? It's like trying to block Kevin Durant.
Let me tell you something. Something else we said, right? On Wednesday, when we talked about the slept on people on this team. Tight ends are gonna give teams problems, bro. Let me tell you something. Holden Stays and Eli Raritan, problem.
Yeah.
Problem. Like Michael Mayer was doing his thing.
Yeah, he gonna get his buckets.
Doing his thing all day. Mitchell Evans was another one of those guys working with the trainers on the side, doing band work, riding the bikes as he recovers. I don't think he gets back for week 1, but he'll probably be back by week 3, week 4. Kevin Bauman, another big dude out there making it happen. People are sleeping on everybody else in the tight end room. They're going to be so focused on Michael Mayer. The other tight ends are going to make an impact.
Are just handfuls. It's just man, they sit in the middle of that offense and just cause problems. They become that extra blocker when you need it, that gets the edge.
Yeah.
And then they become that extra guy that can't cover it one-on-one.
Yeah.
Against a big fat middle linebacker. And then even if he's fast, he a big body.
Yeah.
So you got to run through the body to get the ball. And it's just, I mean, look, Tommy Reese has no excuse this year. He on a hot seat. We done gave you the fastest car in the world.
Yeah.
I'm talking about 0 to 60 in 0.2 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your ass better not crash his car.
Eli Raritan was out there in that number 9 looking like a young Cal Rudolph, bro.
And it's it's so funny. It's only one football. There's only one football out there. You done spoke about 3 or 4 people. We ain't even talk about the usuals. And there's only one football. You didn't say not one explosive play about Lorenzo Styles yet.
No. I told
you talking about the backup tight ends.
The usual suspects were just doing their thing, bro. And it's to a point where it was like, okay. Oh, okay. I see you, Foskey. Okay.
Yeah. Check the boxes.
Oh, Mike, man. Okay. Lorenzo.
I seen them on the commercials. Okay, I'm checking the boxes. They looking good.
Yeah. But you start seeing all this other talent they're surrounded by, and it's like, oh, snap.
You're like, we got to get him to rock. We ain't talk about the running game yet.
Yeah. Let's go ahead. That's a perfect segue. Let's get to the running backs, right? One of my favorite things all day was when they broke out into positional skills. The running backs came right over in front of the stands, right in front of the media. And Dylan McCullough was taking them through fundamentals and drills. And they were working on blitz pickup. And this is one of the most interesting things he said. He was talking to the guys, and Audrey Estime, of course, Chris Tyree were the first 2 running backs out in the drill. And he was trying to tell them, like, yo, you're going to have to learn the blitz inside, but your punch is the most important thing. Your punch in your feet. Like, you just can't and lock, because what are they going to do? They're going to hit down on your arm, swim, do what they have to do. So, punch, get your hands ready to punch again. And then he was like, yo, if someone's coming from the outside and you meet them here, they're not going to stop their feet. they're gonna keep going. So you have to be ready. First punch, move your feet and be ready for the next punch. And it was just the fundamental things with blitz pickup and hearing that and going back to watching film over the last 2 years. It's like, yeah, you would see a linebacker come through, the initial hit, okay, but then the next thing you know, they're on the quarterback because that running back isn't staying with his block and moving his feet. And obviously, this is being watched by Dylan McCullough. But Chris Tyree had the best day, my bro. Chris Tyree was super quick, fast, ran strong on the inside. And then, it was just certain plays meant to go up to the middle, and he would just bend it and cut that corner on the outside. Great speed. The speed is there. He looks healthy. Chris Tyree looks like he's ready to make an impact as the number one running back.
And that's a real positive thing to hear. Always, you just got to consider the size as the season goes on, which is why I've been such a big proponent of Aldrich, only because his size I know can last the entire season. Guys like Chris Tyree can start very hot, and then just a turf burn or a turf token tear his whole season up.
Yeah, bro. Let me pause you right for a second. I just want to share this. We kind of talked about it, knew it was coming. But there you go.
Got some breaking news?
There you go, boy. We said we knew it was coming. Dylan Edwards to Notre Dame is official. He put on the green hat, baby. So in 3 consecutive days, Notre Dame has landed. Pops has the poster in the back.
Yeah, they had that. He was going there early because that take 10 days to make.
Yeah.
He was going there early. That take a long time to make.
Did he go to Staples or Kinko's with that, bro?
Nah, you gotta go to Kinko's for that one. You gotta get that thing made a couple weeks early now.
And look, the way from what I'm hearing, Notre Dame is doing a fantastic job with Kenny Minich. Fantastic job with Kenny.
Don't let us get Kenny. Don't let us get Kenny now.
So once again, 4-star Dylan Edwards, Notre Dame in 3 consecutive days has landed linebacker Jaden Ausberry out of Baton Rouge. Then Minich, safety out of Ohio. And now 4-star running back athlete Dylan Edwards.
Yeah, he might be all over the place. That's no different than Rico. Rico could mess around and play a little bit of running back room if he wanted to. He can play some slot. Avery Davis can play a little bit everywhere. So, maybe we see some funky formations, some 2-back with Chris Tyree and Avery.
Yeah.
Or maybe see, Dylan Edwards and Chris Tyree or something. You never know.
Yeah. Another observation before I get to your boy, the Hulk. Freshman Pyne. That dude has some tree trunks, bro.
Oh, yeah, he's huge. He's from Ohio, so you already know how he
I was looking and I'm like, okay, yes, freshman?
Yes, sir.
He's from Ohio, freshmen, man. Right, you expect freshmen to be slight.
Mm-hmm.
See,
he's different than Jadarian. Now, Jadarian looked like Reggie Bush, just stacked, crazy, Superman build. But Pyne, that looked like a heavy guy to take down. You're gonna need a couple guys jump on his back.
And because of numbers, he's going to be needed.
He's like a Daniel Cormier.
Yes.
Heavyweight fighter. He don't look like no John Bon Jones or nothing, but he just as tough.
Yeah. Lucky Lefty podcast. So Logan Diggs, red jersey, look good. And more importantly, because for me, with him, it's all about his attitude. He looked to be in a better mindset, bro. He looked to be in a better mindset. He almost got robbed, yesterday, though. They broke out in their positional drills, and he walked over, and he was the only one. I don't know where he got them from, but this dude had 2 big slices of watermelon in his hand, one in each hand. So he's eating a watermelon, and Audrey Estimate looks up and said, dude, where you get that from? He's like, man, over there, right?
Yeah.
And so everybody's looking like, what? Like, how you just standing here eating watermelon in
How
front
you
of
get
us
there?
like that? And all of a sudden, you see one of the assistants run over and she has, the fruit available that she's passing out to guys. And they're like, what do you have? Guys took a couple pineapples. Some other guys took apples.
That's right.
It was funny because Logan just he just pops up with two watermelons in his hand. And everybody's like, fam, where you get that from? But then, his attitude was so much better. Just going back to what I talked about when I saw him on the sideline, the frustration he had, and then the eventual injury late in the spring game. And we know he struggled with being homesick. We know the stories that have been reported, but he was really, really having a good time. He was jovial. He has a great relationship with Aldrich Estime. It shows. They're laughing. And that was the most important thing to me. I've seen him play. I know he can play, right? I know he can play. I just want him to have the best attitude about the situation. And this is something else. So Dylan McCullough, because I would say the first day of practice was general fundamentals with a little bit of Ohio State preparation sprinkled in.
It better be shit.
Like every practice is going to have a little bit. This is not like you build up to like the last week and then like the last 10 days is like, okay, now we're preparing for Ohio State. Nah. I think everything is structured by the staff that every day there is something they're working on with Ohio State in mind.
And we shouldn't hide it.
Yeah, they went through 2 live periods yesterday, bro, with piped in noise. And that's getting ready for Ohio State. And glad to say
if we could have long time in possession, we won't have to worry about it.
Yeah, and I'm glad to report they had no pre-snap penalties with the noise up. And we'll get to why Marcus Freeman said he did that when we talk about his press conference in a little bit. One of the other things, he used garbage cans in the drill, right? And he had a 3-man front, which is what Jim Knowles is known for in that 3-3-5. But he was changing the 3-man front, making it look even, making it look odd, setting the linebackers at different depths. And what they went to and worked on for a vast majority of the time is free release. Now, we haven't seen Notre Dame really free release their running backs. We haven't seen that. We normally don't see that. They worked on free release, and you kept hearing Dylan McCullough say, if these linebackers are going to sit here and you free release, they can't get to you. If we throw this quick pass to you on a swing route, make a move, get up the field. They can't get to you. And I felt like that's something else that's in preparation for Ohio State and the way they like to play defense. And it's an ode of respect to the offensive line as well. To whereas, okay, if they're blitzing from this side, we're just going to free release our running back to this side. And that linebacker can't stick with him. He can't. Things are changing. I think things are changing, and you can see it just in the things that they work on from a fundamental standpoint.
100%. And a lot of that too, a 3-3 stack, a 3-down lineman, a 3 front. There's a lot of different things that you can get out of that. And so, early preparation for understanding alignments and keeping your running back in or keeping them or pushing them out because it's really a 5-man box you're getting a lot of the times is important because, we do have the players for it.
Yeah.
Chris Tyree can catch very well out of the backfield, and he has great speed. So I think it would be an advantage if Ohio State does a lot of 3-down stuff and leaves the linebackers in the box because it gives us the ability to go one-on-one with a secondary and back end that isn't as great as it's been in years before. So I'm glad that we're getting on little strategies that are going to come in handy for that game. But like I said, this is not a regular I don't think they should treat it as a regular preseason camp.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the expectations is that could be your season, first game of the year.
Yeah.
So, it's ever more important that we keep that in a not distant focus, but somewhere close by.
So, Audrey estimate. I said this in the spring. Young man has amazing feet to be that size. And I'm not talking about the straight line speed. He's not about to run a 4.4, 4.3. But his feet and his commitment that when he sees the opening, he's north-south. Not dancing around, no, north-south, see it, punish the tackler, fall forward for another yard or two, go get you 4 or 5 yards, wear the defense down, and if I need to bounce it to the outside, yeah, I have just enough speed to bounce to the outside and beat the linebacker to the edge. Like he's really going to be a factor for this offense. And the trio of Diggs, Estime, and Tyree, that's some real TED talk, boy. That's the acronym TED. That's some TED talk for you.
And throwing that TB, So it's gonna be a real interesting process on what are we gonna hit teams with, because all that being included, what's the identity of the offense? Are we coming out strong with 2 tight ends and pounding the flesh, or are we releasing backs out of the backfield with 6 guys in a route? So I think the closer we can stick to what we're really good at,
Mm-hmm.
that's the better we can get. Now, we are good at a lot of stuff. So being good at everything and not being great at anything, I think is something to remember as well.
And on top of that, bro, just the things that they're asking them to do shows you that they understand what puts them in the best position. Look, they're going up against a pretty good front seven every day. Every day. Tyler Buchner with any one of those running backs is a trick bag, bro. It's a trick bag. They put, I think it was Justin Alamiola on consecutive plays. They put him in a trick bag because they had been running power plays in the RPO. And then all of a sudden, they went fake power, option to the right. And it's like Justin took a false step with the running back, and Tyler just took off, like straight up the gap. And I'm like, yeah, it's a problem, right? This isn't Jack Cohn running this RPO stuff. Like you have to make a commitment, and whatever commitment you make, and he just took off, and it was like 10 yards before anybody reacted. And I'm like, yo, defenses are really in a quandary. Because if you have to put 2 on Michael Mayer, and Jaden Thomas is a dude, and Lorenzo Styles Jr. is a dude, these running backs are about to eat.
Yeah.
These running backs are about to eat. And early in the season, teams are going to force Tyler Buchner to prove that he can throw. But all it takes is a couple of big plays. That's all it takes. A couple of chunk plays every game. Running backs are about to eat behind this offensive line, bro.
That's right. So it's gonna be a full feast, and it's gonna be hard for defenses to give us a bunch of crazy looks just because we're so multiple in what we can do. You probably just gonna have to be real basic and just be one-on-one talent versus talent. That's probably the best form of what I can see some defenses doing early on, just because we don't have a lot of film yet. But I do think it's going to be a problem for teams just legitimately stopping the run. If Tyler, like we said in the beginning of the season or beginning of the offseason, if Tyler can just make the throws when he needs to, if he can make a 2nd and 8, 3rd and 5, maybe a big first down play action, big shot, just to keep defenses honest enough, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
We don't need Tyler Buchner to be Ian Book of 2017, 2018. We don't need that because we got enough talent. We just need Tyler Buchner to make the plays that Jack couldn't, right? That's why they were going splitting time here and there.
Yeah.
So that's why he wasn't in there the whole time, because we just need him to do certain times. So if he could just in certain times make the plays needed, he's gonna be fine. That's why we got him there. That's why I like him better than Drew, because I just don't believe after the spring game too that if you really needed Drew to come down with a 3rd and 8, I'm probably changing the channel.
Yeah.
More times than that.
Yeah. Lucky Lefty podcast. By the way, Drew had a good day yesterday, and it got,
of course, he's gonna look good in practice.
It got progressively better. He got progressively better in practice, and it was just good to see that type of outcome from him, especially after that spring game.
Like, Drew is like the rabbit in the horse race. He just keeping the pace. You know, he's gonna keep the pace of practice going, because he's always gonna be consistent enough. He's never gonna wow you, but he ain't gonna have a terrible day either. So that's good for Tyler Buchner to be like, oh, I'm getting lazy, and Drew just doop 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 all day at practice. He'll do doop 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 doop. Yeah. He may not hit the big one, but he gonna do doop 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 doop, and then you're gonna be like, dang, you need to, all right, you know, he not slacking either. So I think he's a good rabbit, if that makes sense, to push the competition level in that room.
Let's go to the offensive line. That first unit is really good, bro. They're really good. And Harry Heastand is the wizard. Because it would have been very easy to just stick with first-team All-American center, Jared Patterson at center, who is over the communication. Like, it would have been very easy. Zeke Correll is coming on. He's looking good. It's very easy for Harry Heastand to be like, okay, good. We got a good backup just in case Jared gets hurt. But no. Harry's all about getting the best 5 on the field. We're going to shuffle this thing. They look really good. They get good push because they're big. It's a big offensive line. When you put Jared Patterson and Josh Lugg on the interior with those 2 big monsters at tackle, it's a big offensive line that gets a lot of push. And Zeke Correll, as they said, he's progressed and gotten a lot better at the center position. It's just, man, and they're being challenged. That's what you love. Like, you love for your O-line and your D-lines to be challenged every day.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening. And when you see them respond to the challenge, that's what makes you feel like, okay, this O-line can be really good. I'm not saying they're McGlinchey, Quentin, Ron. No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah, that's a lot to say now.
That's a lot to say.
But
they're going to be really good.
That means, 100%.
So we're not about to see them line up against an inferior talent front 7 like Toledo last year and get out coached.
No.
You're not out coaching this.
Yeah, you're not out coaching that. No. It's just you're gonna have to just be better.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to play your tail off, and eventually you're probably gonna get worn down because
it's gonna shake out how it's gonna shake out.
Yeah, it might work for you early, but eventually you're gonna
get. We moving furniture around now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're really, really good. I will say this: Rocco Spindler, Michael Carmody, who came in and got some first team reps. They're just well coached, man. They're just well coached. And freshman Emil Wagner. Man, this dude has the longest arms I've ever seen in my life, bro. Longest arms I've ever seen in my life, and he's strong. He's strong. Like, he's only I think right now they say he's still at like 265, 270. and
That's a little.
he's still playing left tackle, and he flat buried Nana on a run play. Just buried him and stood over him. He picked him up because Nana looked up like Nana probably looked up like, is that you? Like, yeah. Yeah, he's just naturally strong. He hasn't even added weight yet.
Right.
This is like the future of the O-line, bro. So basically, and I said this to somebody yesterday, take this year's offensive line haul for 23. They have 5, right? They're going to redshirt Emil Wagner, and he's going to gain weight. So basically, he's going to be the 6th freshman on offensive line coming in next year.
Well, the one dude had to retire, right?
Joey Tonona. He had to retire from the accident he had over the winter, and prayers out to him and his family. But like Marcus Freeman said, look, he's still going to be here with us. He's going to get his degree, and that's why we say what we say. Football ends. At some point, we don't know when, but football ends. But you will always have this Notre Dame degree.
Yeah, that's trash, though.
Yeah. It is. It is. But it was good to see him. It was good to see him there. So, quarterbacks. I want to point out and play something for you, bro. They set up the practice, and the influence of Al Golden being a previous head coach and coming from the NFL played a major part in how they designed practice and how it impacted the quarterbacks. And so I want to play this clip from Marcus Freeman in the press conference yesterday. And he was talking about the red zone work and why they were exclusively working red zone in the first practice.
We started in the red zone because it was very intentional. It really, I think Al Golden was the one that said it in the NFL. They kind of did that to really work the long running of the skill guys, right? And so I'm not trying to take it easy, but it's a progression in terms of how long our wideouts and our DBs are running. And so that's kind of where we started in the spring of we're going to start in the red zone and then we'll work our way out to the middle of the field. And so that's why we did that. I mean, it went back and forth. It was really good to see. You know, I think the defense has depth, you know, and that's something to me that was noticeable. You know, the offense, you know, we're not as deep as we want to be yet. You know, we'll continue to progress to that point. But it was good. You saw some good things from the offense, good things from the defense. In terms of Tyler Buchner, you know what? We all know he can run. So it's really good for him to progress in terms of being a passer, staying in the pocket, making good decisions, you know, because it's always easy to take off and run.
So they were talking about, first of all, which
they talk about TB like he a black quarterback, man.
But it goes to, because if you if you read what other people wrote, other people will say Drew Pyne had a better day, right? And
I'm not taking any of that to stock.
But no, but the bulk of the work was red zone, right? And the focus for that day was the passing game in the red zone. But in the red zone, the biggest weapon is going to be the legs of Tyler Buchner. But you're asking him not to play and not use his biggest weapon, which is his legs to this point. His arm will catch up. That's what we're waiting on. He'll mature, his arm will catch up. But he made plays. He just probably didn't make as many throws as Drew Pyne. But he made plays. And people make it seem like, oh, Drew Pyne had a much better day. It's like, come on, man.
The most important thing to remember for everybody out there watching us and hearing us, the most important thing for a quarterback in the red zone is decision making.
Absolutely.
So I don't care about the throws or the runs. Did they score and did he turn the ball over? That's all that matters. We know in the game when the shit gets tight, Tommy not putting that ball in the air if we in the 20, because everybody on the sidelines gonna look at him and be like, do you not see that running back room?
Yeah.
So look, I think that we keep discrediting Tyler's arm because he can run well.
Facts.
But he's a Division I college quarterback. I'm not waiting on shit. We're not finna wait on his arm. His arm is there. It's about his decision making. If he going in there throwing 15, 20 picks, look, that's terrible. But if he can give you 15, 20 rushing touchdowns in the red zone, okay, we're trying to win a game.
Yeah.
So I don't put no stock in what they look like in practice one because it don't count.
Yeah.
And we know there's practice players and there's guys that just, when the chips is down, just call something, they gonna make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's all about decision making in the red zone. We know he has to develop in areas, but shit, that's why you coach him.
Yeah.
We need you to call the plays that he can throw. We don't care about calling plays that you like anymore. We had that last year. That's why he threw it 60 times in a game.
Yeah.
Call plays he's good at. And then when in doubt, trust that he can be the player that you recruited him to be. You didn't recruit him to be Joe Montana. You recruited him to make plays when you can't call a good enough one. And that's fine. It's college football.
Lucky Lefty podcast. Let's go to Marcus Freeman from his press conference when he was talking about the emergence and the importance of someone that Malik said was going to be that dude, and that's Jaden Thomas.
We'll need him to have a huge role for this offense this year. We challenge him. I challenge him all the time. I'm going to need you. We're going to need you to step up. And he's a confident kid. He's getting better and better and better. And that's all we ask. But he's going to have to get better fast because we're going to need a lot out of him. He's got to be a guy that if our defense is playing man coverage against us, we feel like we can go to him and win. That's got to be who he is.
That's who he was in red zone yesterday.
And Marcus Freeman is absolutely right. We need a guy in that receiver room that's going to win.
Yeah.
Unquestionably. More times than not, if we throwing it his way, he's gonna come down with that football.
Yeah. Because we already know we got two that are gonna win.
Yeah. We already know we got Styles and Mayer. We're gonna be like, okay. But that third receiver is so important. Look at any good college football team, any good pro team. That third receiver is always the most important guy. For the Rams, you got Odell was the third most important receiver. Because you got Cup, Van Jefferson. Or you can switch. Van Jefferson was important. Skoranek came through with a couple plays.
Yeah.
That third receiver is an impact player. So when it comes to I mentioned where his impact needs to come in, somebody needs to fill in that 8 to 10 play spot in the game.
Yeah.
We said 60% run. We got that. 30%, you got the Michael Mayer, Lorenzo style show. That 8 to 10 plays would be nice if it was Jaden Thomas. It'd be really nice.
Yeah.
You can do 4 and 4, 4 Brayton, 4 Jaden, but those breakdowns are the breakdowns because the math is mathing. If you can just get, like Marcus Freeman said, we need you good right now because them 4 to 8 plays, it's going to be a one-on-one and third down.
Mm-hmm.
Something in the red zone where they bracketing Lorenzo and bracketing Michael Mayer, where you got to win us on a slant or win on a go route. That's going to be your role this year, but that develops into what a number one receiver becomes, right? So it's a big year for Jaden Thomas because I think that the next 2 years, all right, that window will close on you.
There's some dogs coming in. You better take full advantage of the moment right now, because there's some dogs coming into the bin in that position room.
Because you heard Marcus Freeman, he said we don't have the depth yet.
Yeah.
Because he know what he got coming.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what he said. We don't have the depth yet.
But it will be here.
And look, I keep trying to call down to Nashville. I keep trying to get in contact with Eddie George's assistant. Because I'm like, man, y'all might want to reschedule that game. You might want to face this Notre Dame offense instead of the 24.
Yeah. Because 24
Notre Dame offense, because
it's gonna be real. It's gonna be real.
It's gonna be rough for the Tennessee State Tigers when they come into South Bend.
Yeah, because we're gonna have freshmen running by you. We're gonna have freshmen running by you.
It's gonna be real tough. Marcus Freeman talked about his love for his favorite position group this off season and how much time, even as a defensive coordinator, he's enjoyed spending with the offensive line.
No, it's we feel like right now him playing guard is what's give our offensive line the best chance to have success. And so, you got to look at that unit in terms of all five, not in individual pieces. And, J-Pat being at guard, we feel like gives those five guys up front the best chance to be successful.
And so that's him talking about the shuffling that's going on. It's strictly getting the best five on the field. And he loves spending time with those guys. He loves the camaraderie. Early on in the spring, he talked about them not being at the 1A, 1B level that he wants his positions to be at. But yesterday, he talked about how much he loves this unit and how much they're responding to the challenge of a very good front seven that they get to face each and every day. You have to feel good about that.
Absolutely, man. It's the best feeling when your offensive line is set, because then you can build on top of that foundation and it can go to the moon.
Yeah.
It's not a faulty foundation when you have a solid offensive line. And when your head coach is behind it, he knows that's his bread and butter right there. Because you can't go wrong with a foundation piece that's solid like that, because now you can build anything on top of it. And even if it falls, the O-line going to be standing. So I think he feels confident in where the direction of the offense is going. And I think he knows that it ain't at its potential yet.
Yeah.
He's like, it ain't as potential like defense is, but that offensive line, we're winning games off of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll get the dressing and the sprinkles and all that when that class come in. But right now, we straight up front.
And he also talked about, now this is where, in my opinion, he became the star of the day. When he started talking about expectations and how things have changed and how the pace is picked up and how, we purposely design practice to get reps for our threes, to face our threes, because we need to know what we have in our freshmen. And it's unfair to put them against ones as incoming freshmen and really see what we have. Let them go up against threes. And then once we figure out what we have, then we can start integrating them into some of the reps against the ones and twos and start implementing them more into the game plan. And I love that he has purpose to it, purpose to the setup, and he talked about the expectations that he has for practice overall.
Starter, all right? There's a couple guys that couldn't finish practice. And so we have to get into a position where our guys aren't being pulled from practice, and so we have to condition our body. And the beautiful thing about it is I've been around different places where you really start slow and then you build up, and then that second and third week is the hardest, longest practices. But, the thing about it is right now we're starting out of ground zero, long practices, tough, hard practices, and because we have to develop fast, man. We got to be ready to roll, right out of the gate. And so it's very intentional of how we practice. The crowd noise, it's not about anything other than I want the coaches to let the players play. And that was really it's a trigger. When you're inside, you can't hear anything. Outside, they can yell a little bit, but I want the coaches to let these guys, starting from day one, to learn how to communicate with each other, how to problem solve without the coaches being on the field.
How important is that? How important is that, the last part? Like the guys being able to play without the coaches. Like take the coaches away, just play. You know how to play. You know to play. You know what the adjustment is on the defense. You know what the counter is. You know what the audible is on offense. Go play. Despite distractions, how important is that in starting fast, like you said?
Man, it's super important. And for me, it was always the thing I yearned for the most in practice was all right, stop talking to me. Let us just get a couple plays in a consecutive drive. Let's move the ball down the field a little bit, because when you're doing scripted plays or when you're doing play, stop, you don't get a real feel for the game because you just become a practice player, right? You just practicing plays. When you get a chance to, it don't necessarily have to be always live, but anything consecutive where you can move down the field and get a flow for down and distance, get a flow for situation, you really understand and feel comfortable and set into, I can get away with this. I can't get away with this. If it's 3rd and 5, I need to kind of look towards this instead of this just because of down and distance. So there's a lot of different things that play into why it's important to have the reins taken off, because coaches, spend all day in the freaking office. So they can coach the hell out of a play for 30 minutes. But then you get on the field, you don't got 30 minutes to talk about a play. So you need that time to be like, this 2 or 3 seconds, I need to be able to transfer from the 15 hours of meetings we sitting in there and you breaking down cover 2. You break it down and run a dig for about 2 hours now. I need to be able to translate that with live reps and moving the ball. So it's vitally important. And I think Coach Freeman understands that because he played. So he knows what and where those moments in practice need to come in at.
And from that, he talked about and mentioned at the beginning they had a couple of players that didn't make it through the practice as long and hard as it was day one. Blake Fisher didn't make it through. Zeke Carrell didn't make it through. And he talked about, this was, for me, this is the best quote of the day. The media, being used to the way practice had been run, was pretty much like, man, practice seemed kind of long. Like, did it go over the allotted time? And Marcus Freeman stood in front of them and was like,
be hard. It's not changing. We're not changing what we're doing. And it's going to be hard. We had a couple guys that couldn't finish practice today, and it's their job to make sure they're available for practice. It's the trainer's job to make sure they protect the player, And so I was trying to send a message to those players that, hey, whatever you have to do to make sure you're available for practice. We had a couple guys go out because of heat, and whatever you have to do to make sure you're available, we have to do it because we're not changing. Because I believe in what we've kind of scheduled out through this fall camp. I believe this is what we need to be prepared to go. And we're not going to change. We'll always look at and review and debrief and say, is there anything we can do to enhance? But the length of practice, the effort, the way we're going to challenge our players, that's not going to change. And so if they're looking for us to pull back, it's not going to happen. They have to continue to do whatever it takes to make sure they're ready to go.
I should have clipped that with the question, bro, because if you had seen the smirk and the release of like air via a deep breath before he answered the question, like,
listen,
look, man,
it's not changing.
It's not changing.
I don't care what you got to do.
We got us one. We got us one. That's what I felt like.
Your ass better get through that practice because we not. He said he tried to placate to the media. Yeah, we'll review and discuss and try to. No, we ain't changing shit. Well, it's like that's not my job. The trainer's job to keep them boys right But over here, when you get in that field, come on, man, what I look like? He said we have to get ready because this is what it's gonna take to win. He's like, he said, do y'all not know who we play in the first game?
Exactly.
He said, I put this together because that's what it's gonna take to win the first game. What we not changing. I don't spend too much time on them planes. Spend too much time eating mom's spaghetti and her favorite dish, shaking hands, kissing babies, shooting movie clips. I designed this whole thing because we not changing this shit. We have to win. So this is what it takes, and y'all better figure out how to get through practice. But that's that Midwest, man. You know, that's what
you have to take it back to Ohio, didn't you?
That's Midwest football. What you mean? You remember 2-a-days?
No, remember
I left. 2-a-days. Yeah, you quit.
Left in the middle of 2-a-days.
He was like, "There's another one. There's a longer practice." Yes, we are practicing today. We are practicing it, and you know, guys that ain't from the Midwest, because I've been to different places and how they practice. It's real light.
Yeah.
Shoot, my practices at school be real. I'll be like, man, it's an intramural team. We ain't practicing for real. So I'm glad Marcus Freeman is giving edge to what, you know, I know the media used to what we used to practice like. That used to be, you know, it's like you go to the museum. You know what I mean? Oh, it's just Notre Dame practicing over on the Notre Dame. If you look over to the right, Notre Dame's practicing in their natural habitat, just going through the freaking motions. They'll be ready to play because they're talented, but they, you know, you might fall asleep. You sit at practice too long.
Yeah.
So the media like, oh, all this, we see guys sweating. Is that going to be a concern?
I mean, the media, they were acting like attorneys for the players or something. Agents, like advocating for the players. Like,
are you sure it's good for their health and getting ready in the first day? And he's like, look, y'all just ain't seen nobody practice for real. I bet you if we went down to Georgia last year, them practices was savage.
Coach, should you be doing that on day one?
Hard. It's not changing. We're not changing what we're doing. And it's going to be hard. We had a couple guys that couldn't finish practice today, and it's their job to make sure they're available for practice.
Yeah, he's telling you.
It's the trainer's job to make sure they protect the player, you know? And so I was trying to send a message to those players that, hey, whatever you have to do to make sure you're available for practice.
Figure it out.
We had a couple guys go out because of heat, you know, and
wait, did you hear the shade? Did you hear the shade? We had a couple of guys go out because of heat.
He's like, heat? What is that? He's not outside. What do you mean? He said, look, he even told you in the first part. He was like, look, we have this thing how we have it, but it's your job to get through. He said, my job was to put together, your job to get through. He said, why do you think I recruited you? I thought you could get through this.
Handle your business.
He said, so whatever you got to do, figure it out. Because when you come back, it's not changing. We still 24 periods. It's going to be hot. What you mean? We got this nice indoor, we go outside.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. I looked at my watch towards the end of practice like, wait a minute. It's supposed to be over. I did. I'm going to keep it a buck. I'm like, man, according to the time on the board, this period is supposed to be done. It's like, yo.
Said, no, we can't.
Look.
He said how we got all this talent and we practicing for just 2 hours. What you mean? What you mean? They got study hall longer than practice.
Oh, man.
That can't happen.
Yo.
Study hall cannot be longer than practice.
Bro, this might replace Braden Lindsay is the most loved clip by L Nation.
I mean, he didn't let the reporter finish. He told me it's not. Oh, no.
Sir. It's like, man, what about the players? What about their health? Shouldn't you be looking out for the players day one?
Whatever you have to do to make sure you're available, we have to do it.
And I love it because he ain't giving himself no excuses.
No.
Because if I'm Marcus Freeman, I'm going out swinging. Shoot, I ain't gonna. oh, we should have did this. No. We doing it. And if it don't work, damn it, at least we tried. We not finna say we went too, we trying to pace out. No. We going crashing out that first game. We crashing out. We gonna have to. Think about this. He got the stadium music in there. First practice,
bro. For multiple periods, not just one. Multiple periods, bro. Multiple periods.
I think that's just the black thing.
You
know, you go somewhere new.
Like, okay, I know they have to do this, but this is starting to get on my nerves, bro.
It's a black thing, you know. When black people go somewhere new, you're not finna embarrass me.
No,
you ain't finna embarrass me in what you dressing. You finna put the right clothes on. You ain't finna come out the house looking crazy.
Oh,
if
man.
We gotta iron and get up at 5:30 to iron our clothes. We ain't finna go out with no wrinkles.
No, you can't afford to do that. You can't afford to do
that. So when you get up, the bed gotta be made.
Yes.
Because if the company come over, you're not finna have me looking crazy.
Right.
So it's not changing. What do you mean? So when we show up to this nice place, we're gonna be looking spick and span and ready to go.
But coach, shouldn't you take it easy on your veterans early on?
Hard. It's not changing. We have to do it because we're not changing. Because
What you said? Because I put this together. I'm not changing this.
Put it together. You know what though? That just let me know. You know, when you're used to something for so long, you come out of a relationship, you kind of have to have that cleansing period.
Yeah, you asking old ex-girlfriend questions.
Yeah, you have to have that cleansing period. And I think the media is still like in the flow of the previous regime.
He said, I'm not her. This is not your last boo.
Yo.
We turn what he say in Fiesta Bowl? Pull that clip up. The book is closed. We turn the chapter.
Turn the chapter.
So he like, y'all still talking about this? The book was closed last couple months ago.
Yes.
So it's not changed. This is the fresh page. I'm turning the page forward, not backwards.
It's gonna be hard. It's not changing.
Yeah. Look, your last girl didn't cook vegetables for you. I'm trying to keep you alive. You eating green beans. You know what I'm saying? You eating broccoli. You trying little bell peppers.
We out here succumbing to the heat.
And we ain't even in Florida. You know, back when the ice age hit all the way down to Texas.
Dude, I think it was 88 in South Bend yesterday with some humidity. Coach Freeman's like,
and I'm surprised he said Blake Fit, but you know, one of them linemen gonna drop out early just because they ain't used to heat stand. That's what it was. It wasn't a heat, it was heat stand.
It was heat stand. Let me give you a tidbit. This was crazy. So, you know, they have the run game period, 7-on-7, right? Front against it was pretty much everybody except the wide receivers on the field for the run game period. And what they would do is they would run the play. And it was like as soon as the play was run, it was get back to the line. But you weren't getting back to the line at the same spot. You had to run to the other hash. So it's like we ran this play from this hash, get through with that, get up, go to the next play.
That's our tempo. That's our tempo. We start practice like that.
Run the next play. After you run the second play, second group comes in, this hash, and it's back and forth, get up, run. And the pace.
It's called 88s.
Yes, because you have to get all of this in. You have to get all of this in within the period might be 5 minutes, for example. Yeah. This is a 5-minute period.
88s.
Now we got to get 10 plays in this 5-minute period. Everybody has to get 2 or 3 reps. Everybody. And this is the pace. You getting up off the ground, running to the next hash, getting up off the ground, running to the sideline so the next unit can come in. And it's just substitutions on both sides. And the pace was crazy. And that It was right after because they did it once, then they went to another field and they came back and did it again. And it was after that second period that cat Blake Fisher was like, you know, when you lean back on that back leg and take that deep breath, like, yeah. And I was looking at him like, is he hurt? Because at first I thought he was hurt. And I saw the trainers talking to him.
You're probably hurt.
Like, yo, and then when I saw him strictly in his t-shirt, I'm like, yo, what's up? But then, you know, I didn't know what was up. I thought he might have been injured. But once he said it was, you know, heat, I was like, okay, cool.
Engine's running hot out there, man.
He just running a little hot. That's all.
You gotta put some more coolant in that tank.
Man, the girls ran over with the Gatorade tray. That cat Blake was grabbing them 2 at a time, boy. Like, it was real. It was real.
We're not changing, Blake. So
it was real. I've never.
All you looking for?
I don't think I've ever been maybe at a basketball practice. Like if we were full court pressing the entire practice. Like I remember those days. But I can't imagine like football tired, just rep after rep after rep with that physicality. And that's a whole nother monster.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother monster. So that's the offense. We got through the offense. We're brought to you by Onora Whisky at NoraWhisky.com and Premium American Whiskey at NoraWhisky.com. Just to recap, 3 consecutive recruits commit to Notre Dame. Jaden Ausberry out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Then on yesterday, Ben Minich out of Ohio. And today, Dylan Edwards, running back athlete, commits to Notre Dame. Robert Jaworski, we thank you for the super chat. Yes, the 2023 recruiting class is absolutely sick. And they don't even have a quarterback yet. That's the crazy thing. Like if they get their quarterback, yeah, bro. Let's get to these last 2 comments and then we can get out of here, man. We'll do the offense on Monday, and we had to push our special announcement back. Hopefully we can make it Monday.
Yep.
Some legality involved. Hopefully we can make it Monday, and you guys will be able to see it live. We'll be back Monday, 10:30 a.m. Central Time. Catfish Kelly's Dirty Plunger. Do you think pressure on Stroud or more zone stuff will work best on Bucks?
It's going to be pressure early, and then you got to mix it up, man. I think this is a team, if you keep them on their toes, you got a good chance. If you watch the Oregon game, Oregon did some pressure early and had some good play in that secondary, man. So we don't got to play perfect, but we got to at least make them mess up before we mess up.
I think that's the blessing of Al Golden, knowing when. Mm-hmm. It's not really, yes, you go into every game with every great quarterback knowing we have to put pressure on this guy. But knowing when to bring the pressure, when to show pressure, drop into zone and make him think and allow your front 4 to get after him. They can do both. That's the thing. They don't have to force pressure with the front 4 they have and the depth they have on the defensive line. So Notre Dame defensively, you know, as much as people question the defensive backfield, Notre Dame is equipped to be able to go up against this Ohio State offense.
That's right.
Jay Chillin, thank you, my brother, for always tapping in. By the way, did we miss the big announcement by LL yesterday, or was it just the B Minich commitment that SD and Malik were referring to? No, we had an announcement, but then I had to be at practice. I was supposed to be there today, but we decided to do a show. So we're going to do a show Monday night because I'll be at practice. No, I won't be at practice Monday. I'll be at practice Tuesday. So Tuesday night, we'll be doing a show later. We'll be live Monday, 10:30 a.m. We'll talk about the defensive side of the ball and what we've seen from practices. And we'll get into that. And then hopefully Monday or Tuesday, we'll have the big announcement. All right, so my man, the original Lucky Lefty himself, Malik Zaire. I'm Shaun Davis. And we spend it different. That's important. It's important to spend it different.
That's right.
Hit the share button, hit the notification bell. Most of all, hit the like button. Let everybody know Lucky Lefty Podcast. We don't make it easy.
We don't.
We're the best podcast out here talking Notre Dame football. And
Keep it real, too.
And guess what?
Hard. It's not changing.
Not changing. From Malik Zaire, I'm Shaun Davis. Have a great weekend, and most of all, be different. And
That's
we'll
right.
see you for another edition of the Lucky Lefty Podcast. No petty today. We'll see you Monday.